Late one evening, the old college library was almost empty. The rain tapped softly against the tall windows, and the yellow lights flickered above the long rows of dusty bookshelves. Ali, a second-year student, sat alone at the far corner table. Exams were near, and he needed a quiet place to study. The library usually closed at 9 p.m., but tonight the librarian had allowed him to stay a little longer. By 10 p.m., the entire building was silent. Too silent. As Ali turned a page of his book, he heard a faint thump from the history section. He looked up, nothing. Probably a book falling, he muttered. A few minutes later, thump, this time louder. Ali stood up and slowly walked between the shelves. The tall racks formed narrow, shadowy paths. His footsteps echoed softly on the wooden floor. When he reached the history section, he saw a book lying on the ground, but something was strange. The book was old, very old, covered in dust as if it hadn't been touched in years. Ali bent down and picked it up. Suddenly, a whisper. "Don't open it!" Ali froze. He looked around, no one. His heart started pounding. Trying to stay calm, he placed the book back and turned to leave. But as he walked away, he heard footsteps behind him. Slow dragging. Step, drag, step, drag. Ali turned around quickly. Empty aisle. His breathing grew faster. He hurried back to his table, packed his books, and headed for the exit. But when he reached the main door, it was locked. The lights flickered again. Then from deep inside the library came the sound of many books falling at once. Crash! Ali slowly turned his head. At the end of the dark aisle stood a pale figure of a girl in an old college uniform. Her hair covered most of her face. She was standing completely still. Then her head slowly tilted toward him, and in a cold, broken voice she whispered, "Why did you take my book?" Ali looked down at his hands. The dusty old book was still there, even though he was sure he had put it back. Behind him, the door creaked open by itself. Ali ran outside into the rain. The next morning, the librarian found the old book lying on Ali's study table. Inside the first page was a faded note, property of Sarah Ahmed, missing since 1987. And written below it in fresh ink,